Hello, everybody. Today we are covering this camera flashlight burst, packet burst technique, but we're going to do it a little bit differently than you might expect. If you're a little bit newer to DaVinci Resolve, this is going to be a more dynamic way to set up effects like this. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. All right, so we're working with some clips that I made myself. We've got our lead actor here, Miles Morales, and we've got some different cut-ups of him flying through the sky. Definitely very difficult to film, but now we want to add a little bit of jazz to it. And like I mentioned, we're not going to do this on the edit page. We're going to do it in Fusion because this is where the secret sauce lives, this magic wand down here. Now, if you never use Fusion, it's going to be okay. I'm going to hold your hand through the tutorial. You don't need to be scared of the Fusion page. To get started, we're going to go up to the Effects tab up top here. We're going to go over to the Effects drop-down menu, and we're going to drag in an adjustment clip. Now, an adjustment clip is going to be a powerful tool for us because it's basically like a blank slate so that we can apply any effect that we'd like to. And I actually want to apply our flash right when he's got the lightning bolts in his eyes, and then we, boom, cut to him launching off the building. So I'd like to have our first, I don't know what you want to call it, burst here, something like that. So I'm going to line the beginning of my adjustment clip up there, and then I'm going to make the size the exact length that I'd want. Now, a question you might have is, well, how long should I make my adjustment clip? And the answer is, it's not going to matter. The way we're going to go about setting this up is through the use of anim curves. And what that means for us is that it's not going to matter how long our adjustment clip's length is. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this on down, and then go ahead and right click, open in Fusion page, or if it's the upmost clip, you can just hit the magic wand down there and it'll take you straight into Fusion. Now, the first thing that we're going to want to do is set up our actual brightness effect. And the way that we're going to do that is with the brightness node. So I hit Control Space to bring up my tool menu, and then I'm going to add in a brightness node. And because I had this node selected when I added the tool, it dragged and dropped it right in there. If that didn't happen for you, you can hold down the Shift key, hover over the line, and insert it in there. And now we've got our brightness node. But here's the thing, we're not going to use the keyframes. We're going to use a special set of modifiers within Fusion that help make this, again, more dynamic, and it makes it keyframe-less, keyframe independent, if you will. If you're newer to Fusion, just stay with me. I'll try to explain myself as I go along, but I want to continue to keep things moving for those who have used Fusion once or twice. So with your brightness node selected, go ahead and go over to the brightness property, right-click, modify with anim curves. Now, these modifier tools are what you can think of as like advanced options in Fusion. They give you the ability to do some more advanced and specific things within Fusion. And so again, I'm right clicking on my brightness property, modify with anim curves. Now, anim curves, I believe, are short for animation curves. And what they do is they give you the ability to apply a change in a property over a set length of time and not a set number of keyframes. So if you're newer to anim curves, all I want you to know is go ahead and change your source from transition to duration. And what that's going to do is it's going to animate our property over the duration of our clip. So see how it's animating? I didn't toggle on a single keyframe. We're just animating over the duration of our clip here. Pretty slick, right? And so again, what that means is I'm just going to make this quick. If I drag out our adjustment clip, it's going to animate over the entire duration of our adjustment clip. Hit Control Z real quick, hop back into Fusion. So there's only going to be a couple things that we change here. And the first is that we're going to go over to the curve, change it from linear to custom. And this will give us the ability to spline out our animation, because when we're talking about like a camera flash or like a bright burst of light, we want this thing to be quick. It's not just like a gradual whatever. And we also need to invert it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this bottom left point. I'm going to change the out value to 1, which will bring it all the way up. And then I'm going to click the upper right point, change the out value to 0. I'm not sure why they label these points like this, but you can think of this as like X and Y coordinates and not like the in point location and the out point location. If you would like to have a little bit of a bigger window, you can open up your spline up here and then check on our lookup table. expand to fit, these up arrows right here. And now what, and you can, again, you can do this in here. It's just a little bit easier to do it with the bigger spline graph. I am going to ramp our animation here so that it decreases fairly quickly and then slowly fades off. So something like this, and you can make this as extreme as you'd like. If you really want this thing pushed up against the wall, grab that handle. If you really, or maybe, you know, if you want it to be a little slower, do something like that. But I want mine to be, I mean, we could probably get a little bit more aggressive there. And now when I play this, boom, we've got a quick flash, very quick. So a couple things to know here is that we are in the modifiers tab, all right? So don't forget that. If you don't want it to be quite as bright in the beginning, there is this scale slider down here. So let's say I just want it to be like 0.75. So, you know, I don't want it to be just like, you know, a flashbang in somebody's face, or you can even go a little bit lower if you want it to be a bit more subtle, go 0.5. This is going to be the maximum Y value on the graph, right? So, oops. Now, there's one other thing that we can do that helps sell this look, because when we're talking about like a camera flash, a lot of times when you see this effect done practically, the lens has to refocus on whatever image has been flashed. And so we're gonna add a blur to help sell this effect. And something you can do, and I'm not going to do it for this tutorial because I'm gonna combine the two, is you could separate these onto different adjustment clips. And what that'll do for you is give you the ability to adjust the length individually. So if you want that ability, you're gonna need to make a new adjustment clip and do it there. But for this tutorial, again, I'm just gonna apply it. I'm gonna apply it on the same one. You could add your blur before or after your brightness node, but I kind of like adding it before. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control Space to bring up our tool menu, type in blur, and you can use anyone. Unfortunately, if you are a free user, you're just a little less cool than us, and you won't have access to the lens blur node. If you do have Studio, go ahead. I would recommend using the lens blur. That's probably going to be a pretty good tool for you. Or if you have Reactor installed, you can use the defocus blurs. Actually, is this Reactor? I think this is a Reactor one. I don't think this is built into Studio. But for us, for anybody out there who's just rocking the free version, just go ahead and add a normal blur node. Boop. Add that sucker in. And then again, I'm going to hold Shift, insert it into our pipeline, and we're going to do the exact same thing here. So what I'm going to do is, with our blur node selected, I'm going to go over to the blur size, and you could do this actually, well, I guess you could do this either or. You could do this with the blend or the blur size. I'm going to do it with the blur size. I'm going to right click, go to modify width, anim curves, modifiers. Let's pull up our spline menu again. And then we're going to change our source from transition to duration, curve, to custom. But again, we just need to flip our points so that we start high and end low. So I'm going to go to click on our first point, change the out value or the Y value to 1. Go to our end point, change that to 0. And then I'm going to change our scale to something like, I don't know, like 10. We can always reduce that if we need to. Expand our spline menu here. Grab our handles, and again, I'm doing the exact same thing. So I'm just gonna grab this, ramp it down, drag that across, and now I'm gonna hit 2 to preview this node here. If I scrub forward, we got a little bit of a blur. And I think I want the blur to fade off just a little slower. So I'm gonna reduce our lines just a little bit so it's not quite as aggressive. I think I want it to be even blurrier. So I'm going to increase the scale actually to something like 20. Boom. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's looking a lot better. So I'm going to hit 2 now on our media out node to swap back. And bang, we have our flash effect. Now, before you click off the video, let me show you a couple cool things that you can do with this. Let me go back to the edit page. Okay, so got 2 cool things for you. 1, because again, we did this on an adjustment clip and we set it up with anim curves. Remember, this is now keyframe independent. So no matter how long we make our adjustment clip, it'll last the length of our adjustment clip. And because our cuts are different lengths here, I can hold down the Alt key, duplicate our adjustment clip, drag it to the end. Again, hold down the Alt key, drag it to the end, Alt key, drag it to the end. Or let's say on this last one, I don't want it to be the total length of the clip. Maybe I can just, again, hold down the Alt key, duplicate it. Shift and the right arrow will move me forward 1 second and bring that in. And now I'm gonna give this just a second to cache. And now if I play this back, our flash effect is gonna be, we might have a little bit of a rave effect, but it's gonna hit on every single one of those cuts to the appropriate length. Ready? Bang, bang, and bang, kapow, sploosh. The last thing here, and this is actually probably the most important part of this video, let's save this effect real quick while you're motivated and still thinking about it. Go up to your media pool in the top left corner. Make sure that your power bins are displayed over here. If you don't see them, these 3 dots in the upper right hand corner show power bins. Go over to your power bins folder and drag and drop this guy into your power bins, and you can name it whatever you like. We could do this camera burst flash effect. Now that it's in your power bins, it will save your adjustment clip across any project that you're using. So whenever I go and open a new project, I can drag this back into our media pool. Now I have our adjustment clip right here. I can drag and drop it, put it on the timeline, and bang, you have that effect. Good to go. The only thing I might add here is that you can couple these adjustment clips with other effects and presets that you've used. So on my main channel, we did a tutorial on a montage zoom kind of effect, and I will leave a link to that video somewhere, something like that. But again, like if I drag that ramp effect here, I can couple some of these effects, and you probably don't want to use the exact same effect on every cut, but you know, for the purpose of this video or whatever. And if you have this effect saved, you can basically make like a fun TikTok kind of edit within, I mean, like 10 seconds. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll put a link on screen now for that montage zoom rampy effect. But appreciate you guys. Oh, actually, one more thing. I do stream and edit live, so check out the stream sometime, man.